Hello, and welcome to another in our Fibres and Fabrics series. Today we're going to talk about natural fibres. If you haven't watched our other videos, our intro to fibres and fabrics and our fabric construction types, I very much recommend you watch those before watching this, but hey, enjoy yourself. Let's jump in. What is a natural fibre? Well, here are some natural fibre characteristics. A natural fibre comes from a plant or an animal. It has two main categories, either a cellulose-based fibre or a protein-based fibre. It's hydrophilic, which means it absorbs water, and it wrinkles fairly easily, and it will generally break down over time, especially a plant fibre. So this might mean it might decompose or biodegrade. And natural fibres are always grown. Here are some common natural fibres. We have cotton, linen, wool, and silk. Cotton and linen make up the two main sectors of the plant-based or cellulose-based fibres, and wool and silk make up the two protein-based or animal-based fibres. Tell you more? Absolutely. Let's jump in. Okay, let's talk about cotton for a second. Now, cotton's a soft fibre that grows around the seeds of the cotton plant. It's called a cotton boll, B-O-L, and you can see here that's how it looks naturally. It's the most used natural fibre, and it's absorbent and takes dye readily. So when we looked before at our intro section, we looked at the microscopic view of what the natural fibre looks like. You can see that cotton has lots of surface area and is able to take dye very easily. It's very breathable, and it has very good wicking properties. In fact, cotton has been used as a wick many times. And takes heat very well, so it can take a very hot iron, for example. Cotton is very strong and is used to create fabrics that have very strong properties. But if you think of those properties, breathable, good wicking, takes heat, and is strong, it's often used for industrial uses, things in kind of history, like sails or clothing worn in hot countries, these types of things. Although cotton's a very thirsty crop and it can have very negative environmental impacts, so it's often grown in places that have lots of sun because it means it grows quite fast. But unfortunately, places with lots of sun often don't have lots of rain, so then they need to be irrigated, which takes away water from other uses and out of the biosphere. Now, similar to cotton, we have linen. Now, linen is made from the stalk of the flax plant, and you can see that it's a much longer fibre. It's very absorbent and will take up to 20% of its weight before feeling damp. So this means that linen is great for things like tea towels. It's very, very breathable, which makes it perfect for hot climates, and has very good wicking properties. Again, has been used literally as wicks for candles for many years. It's 2 to 3 times stronger than cotton, which means it's used for lots of industrial cordage uses, things like rope, for example. Although it can mildew easily and it is easily flammable, hence being great for a wick. Now, let's jump into protein fibres now. Our first protein fibre is wool. So our wool is the most common protein-based fibre. The leading producer of wool in the world is Australia. It's been used by humans for at least 10,000 years. Now, it's absorbent and takes dye readily. There are two main types of wool fibres. First of all, we have our worsted wool, which are long fibre, producing a smooth surface, and then we have woolen fibres, which produce a kind of stand out from the surface and produce a kind of hairier type of fibre. Now, if you think about that, it's very similar to the hair on our bodies. We have longer hair fibres and we have shorter hair fibres. Think of the difference between, say, the hair on your head and the hair on your arm. Wool is very warm, maintaining its heat retention properties even when wet. It's very durable. It has antimicrobial properties, which means it's resistant to microbes and kind of bacteria. It's fire retardant and dirt resistant, which means that it doesn't burn very well. So great for clothing if you need to be around flame. And it's very dirt resistant because of the type of fibre it is, the way that the fibre is produced. The protein is resistant to kind of dirt getting onto it. Doesn't have much surface area, for example, for the dirt to cling. Not a lot of nooks and crannies. Wool production has been linked, however, to animal cruelty issues, especially issues relating to things like mulesing or the keeping of sheep. It, of course, has also been linked to impacts in environmental impacts relating to greenhouse gases produced by sheep farming. Lastly, in our protein fibres, we have silk. So silk is a natural protein fibre made by the silkworm larvae, producing a cocoon for metamorphosis. And we can see here we have our larvae, then we have our cocoon, and then we have our silk moth. Now silkworms will only eat mulberry leaves, so they're often produced where lots of mulberry trees are grown, or mulberry trees are grown for the sole purpose of producing silk. Now, high quality silk is made from one cocoon unwound without breaks. So that means that the cocoon is taken and the single filament is unwound. You'll often find silk called eco silk or something similar that has been created once the silkworm has broken out of the cocoon. It's very smooth, very lustrous, and creates a very shiny surface when it's woven. It's very light and very strong, which means it has lots of applications, not just for clothing, but things like parachutes, for example, which used to be made out of silk. It dries quickly and maintains strength when it's wet, which makes it a great fibre for things like clothing that is close to the body, maybe things like undershirts, slips, and the like. It has been linked to animal cruelty issues relating to the production of the crop because the silkworms, or silk moths by then, are killed to produce the silk. Often they're boiled alive to get the fibre. Now, of course, there is inherent issues in growing mass crops of mulberry trees where they're not native in order to produce massive amounts of insects, but they also have an impact in how the fibre is produced. Here are some other natural fibres. So we have cellulose fibres here from hemp, soybean, bamboo, jute, sisal. Then we have mohair, yak, dog, cashmere, llama, alpaca, lots of other protein fibres. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and please like and subscribe. That's what everyone says. I saw Logan Paul do it, so it must be good. And follow us on Instagram, or just continue to enjoy these videos. Thanks very much.